Hello YouTube, welcome back to Assetto Corsa, and today I'm going to be taking out the Ferrari F138 out for a spin at Silverstone, where I check all Formula 1 cars. Been a lot of Ferraris lately. How many Ferraris have I gone through in the past few weeks? I think it's been 3 Ferraris in a row now. Something like that. I think the past 3 Assetto Corsa videos that I've made has been 3 Ferraris in a row. Now you can see that first thing I'm doing is actually lowering myself in the cockpit a little. I found that I was just a little bit too high. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. But yeah, I did find that I was just a little bit too high. Anyway, this car, Ferrari F138, is a 2013 season car. That's what the 13 is for. I think it was originally called the Ferrari F 2013, but they changed it to the F138. 13 for the year that it was in, and 8 because this was the last of the... Well, you can hear it. It's a V8, and this was the last V8 engine we had before we switched over to those rules. I think that's the best way to describe those rules. With the new engines. I'm not saying that the electrical rules are bad. It's just the engines. The engines are bad. And the cars aren't exactly the prettiest cars. Anyway, drivers for this car: Fernando, Alonso and Felipe Massa, both who are still on the grid at the time of this recording. Alonso with McLaren for his second stint, and Massa having not the most brilliant of season over at Williams. So yeah, this car actually won 2 races in the 2013 season. You can see I'm sort of weaving in and out. I do make a couple of mistakes actually on the warm-up lap, which is a little bit embarrassing. But there we go. Well, you know, I can make those mistakes. It's only a simulator. It's fine. And this is the first time I'm driving the car. But I think it won in... where did it win? I think it won in China, and it definitely won in Spain. And it had a few other podiums as well. I think 10 podiums, and then 10 podiums, and unfortunately a couple of DNFs. But yeah, it was pretty good, and a couple of fastest laps as well. I don't know how. I think I had 3 DNFs, and it allowed Ferrari to finish 3rd in the World Constructors' Championship after what was it? Mercedes and Red Bull? Red Bull and Mercedes, one or the other. I think it was Mercedes, then Red Bull. So yeah, and as you can see, I'm actually, first of all, I went off onto the grass there. That was a complete error, but I am actually lining up on the grid. I want to try this. I mean, I tried it in the SF15T, and I do want to try it in this particular car. A bit of a wheel lockup. Oops. That's not a clever thing to do. That's not a clever thing to do. Right. Specs for this car. Carbon fiber honeycomb composite structure chassis, as always. And of course, you have your standard limited slip diff as it's... Go, go, go for the Silverstone something August practice thing. Yep. I must say that wasn't too bad a launch. I did have a bit of wheel spinning first, but anyway, semi-automatic, sequential, electronic gearbox standard, quick shift. You know, these cars shift faster than the blink of an eye. 7 gears and reverse, longitudinally mounted, as we've been getting on these cars for yonks. Brembo ventilated carbon fiber disc brakes. Pull rod suspension on this car again, bringing the weight inboard. It didn't work for them in 2012, but in 2013 it was definitely better. And yeah, just standard stuff that you find on Formula 1 cars now. And 13-inch wheels as always. The engine was one of their Ferrari Type 56 naturally aspirated V8 2.4 litre engine. 90-degree V, so it was quite narrow. 32 valves, and you know, all those standard stuff. I think the engine itself is almost 100 kilos or 95 kilos, just over 95 kilos, because I think that's what the regulations state or something. And it produces, and now let's get this right, it produces 763 bhp, and that is at its red line of 18,500 rpm or thereabouts. 310 newton meters of torque, slightly less, at around, I think it was around 16.5 or 17,000 rpm. And of course, acceleration, top speed, those figures don't really mean much, because these cars can have configurable gearing, so therefore your acceleration and your top speed will change. But these cars could reach in excess of 215 miles an hour. I think 219, 220 might have been the top for this. So there we go. There's some information about the car. I'm just thinking if there's any other information about this car. Of course, this is the car that was then replaced by that Ferrari F138, the one I called the Fiat, and the one that looks like Hagrid sat on the front. So yeah, and I'm going to keep saying that. What else about this car? Just standard specs. I'm just trying to think of anything else that might be of interest on this car that I can say that's not going to be too technical. I don't want to start talking about, you know, how the exhaust shape was different from last year, and I think what did they used to have? Coanda exhausts and all that with their diffusers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was all the good fun stuff. But yeah, this car was quite a nice car. It was fairly competitive. It had its off days. I think it had, you know, tracks that it was strong at, tracks it wasn't too strong at. And I do remember something, actually, I think it was the second race of the season, Malaysia. It was raining, and well, it had started raining, and they delayed the race or something, and when the race got going, they wanted intermediate tyres, and I think Alonso and Vettel, was it Alonso and Vettel, or Alonso and Ricardo? Sorry, not Alonso and Webber. Webber would have still been there. It was Alonso and a Red Bull that hit each other, or at least had a bit of contact. And Alonso had a bit of front wing issues, and they decided to keep going, and they decided to stay out. Next thing you know, start of lap 2, here goes Fernando Alonso down the pit straight. Rear wing detaches, and it goes underneath the front wheels, underneath the T-tray, lifting the front wheels off the ground, meaning that he had no drive, no steering, and he just ploughed directly straight into the gravel and into the barrier. So yeah, was it completely into the barrier? I think it just touched the barrier, but it was into the gravel, definitely. And that was his race over, lap 2. So yeah, that was one of the retirements. But yeah, I mean, the car was really good. It was good on qualifying pace. It wasn't brilliant sometimes. It wasn't really good in, for example, Singapore. It wasn't good, as opposed to a car a couple of years later that was really, really good in Singapore. But in Monaco, I think it wasn't that good either. It was definitely lacking in pace, but it seemed to be okay. And for example, at the British Grand Prix, I think it came third. It won in Spain, like I said. Number of second place finishes. I think Australia was a second place finish. Bahrain might have been a second place finish. No, I don't think. I think Bahrain was one of their worst ones. But yeah, there was a few. I think Canada was a second place finish. I like Canada. That's an awesome track. Come on, Kunos, get the Canada track. Montreal, get that Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Get that onto the calendar here. That's really, really needed. I love that track. That's brilliant. Wall of Champions, you've got to hit it. You just have to hit it. Anyway, that's enough for the actual information about the car. I don't think there's much more to say about this car. What I'm going to go on to now is, as always, the actual official or the simulation version of this. Starting with the modelling. Again, because it's a Kunos car, you really can't fault modelling. Modelling is always superb, and I have to admit, the car itself, it's a nice looking car. I was never a fan of the front nose of most of the cars of this era. This is 2011, 12, 13. I was not a fan of the front nose. They were too high, and then they had that stupid step nose in 2011 and 12 that was dumb. And you know, they tried to solve it with this, and this didn't really work either. And I found the nose was too high, and I found it was too back from the front wing. I thought it needed to go down, connect to the front wing a bit more. Nevertheless, the rest of the car is a really nice looking car. I quite personally like the rest of the car. I was still not a fan of the high rear wings that they'd introduced in 2009, but good news is 2017 is going to have those low rear wings again, so it's going to be much, much nicer. It's going to have the smaller front wings, and everything should be going back to fast Formula 1, I hope. I just hope it sounds good. Interior, of course, the modelling as well, it's very, very nicely done. Steering wheel's always important in a Formula 1 car, as I always keep saying. This steering wheel is very, very complicated. as you'd expect, and it has the old style LED displays as opposed to the big LCD displays that they put in from 2014 on most cars, except Red Bull and Williams. I think they stayed with the LEDs until 2015. God knows why. Nobody knows. Anyway, so yeah, the steering wheel is really good. Texture-wise is all really good as well. Everything's easy to read. Everything lights up correctly. I mean, you can see as I'm going to go through here, you've got me using the KERS, that's the green, me using the KERS power. You see the revs, you can see that little red dot that's starting near the neutral button above the blue one. That's actually my DRS. Blue means it's available. When it goes red, that means it's active. So yeah, it's all there. I haven't tried with flags, of course. If there were yellow flags, I wonder if the yellow flag lights would come up. I don't know. The green button next to a pit limiter button is the green light, sorry, is the telling me that I'm using KERS, and of course the green lights are on the steering wheel at the top where the LED rev counter displays. That's telling me how much KERS I've used out of 100. So I think 4 is the maximum you can use. So yeah, there's all these things here and there. Looks really good. Sounds are, well, they're brilliant. The sounds are really good. I really like the sounds on this car. The one fault I've got to give this car is I found the sounds were a little bit quiet. That's about it. I found the sounds it wasn't as loud, but it sounds like a V8. It sounds just like the actual Formula 1 car. You know, it really does. Just add some distortion to it and you'll think you're on one of those onboard cameras, for a Formula 1 race. So yeah, it was really good, and I think the external sounds are really good as well. Maybe lacking just a little bit again in that oomph of the noise. I think they just need to be louder. That's all. Not by much. Maybe 10%. I think 10% louder would be plenty. And you can see I'm using the KERS there. And I always tend to. I mean, I've used KERS. I've played the Formula 1 games, and this is 2013. I played Formula 1 2013. And I use the KERS in that same way. I'll use the KERS up to 4th gear, and then I'll always stop. I just won't use it after 4th gear. I don't know why. I just felt that after 4th gear you just don't have the power, or it just doesn't give you. It's got a diminishing returns after 4th gear, so I don't use it after 4th gear. I'll normally use it 2nd, 3rd, and 4th is where I'll use it. But yeah, that's just a bit about my driving style. I'm sure other people drive it very differently, and sometimes I just use it in 2nd. And as you can see, I am driving okay. I'm making some mistakes, but this car, going on to, now the physics, nice way to move on to the physics. The car itself was so nice to drive. It's got to be the most stable Formula 1 car I've ever driven. Not to say that it was not to say that it was hard to drive in the sense of, it is hard because it's so fast, and you've got to get your braking points right, and you've got to be accurate, and you can't touch the curbs in certain ways, or you can't go off too far, and this, that, and the other. But it is still a really stable and not so difficult car to drive. I did find that I think the gearing wasn't right for this. I don't know whether the default Silverstone gearing was right, because 7th gear, I just did not use 7th gear enough, so, and I don't think that was right for this track. Yep, so you can see I'm pretty handy with deploying the DRS as well. Fractions of a second, milliseconds after it's available. I think you just get used to that again, or those kind of things. Now, I don't know. I don't think this car had different KERS deployment or harvest rates. That's why we don't have it in the actual simulator. But what I would have liked to have different engine modes. I think with all the work they put into to the the SF15T, I would have liked to see different engine modes. Even if they just had 5 different engine modes that you could go through, right from lean all the way to fully rich, which would use different amounts of fuel and give you different power, and off I go. That really didn't go so well. So yeah, I would have liked that, because I think that the detailing, I hope they add it actually. I hope that they update these cars to add all these extra details in, and to all the cars. I think even road cars, whatever you can, wherever you can add that, I think it's just going to be absolutely fantastic. The car itself, though, has to be one of my favourite F1 cars that I've driven in Assetto Corsa. That's mods included. and it's just better that it's a V8. You know, I gave the SF15T last time a 10 out of 10 because of how detailed it was. This car, I have to give a 10 out of 10 because, not just because of the detail, but just because on the personal side, it's just such a nice car to drive. I mean, I made some mistakes with it, yeah, but I didn't actually crash significantly with this car. And, you know, anytime I made mistakes, it was because I was not concentrating on it. When I mean mistakes, I mean, like, for example, going off into the gravel, or where I went off at Beckett's or something like that. Those kind of mistakes, obviously the mistakes that you make where you don't get your braking points and everything, right? That's all got to do with getting some practice, you know, some laps under your belt, which I'm sure, you know, I'll be definitely getting some of those, because this car is so nice. Again, I keep saying that. But I think I'm going to end the episode at the end of this lap. So, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to our channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa, and leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think of the Ferrari F138. And also check the description box and check out my Patreon scheme. I'd really appreciate if you were to visit that page and take a look. Coming up to the end of the lap, Vale and Club to go. Round Club, there we go. I'll see you guys next week.